Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. Nerves on high today for everybody around our area because it is April 2nd. We're in Metropolis. We're actually in our new office, and while it's not completely finished out, we got a long way to go. We've at least moved in here and out of our house into an old church. So yeah, pretty significant and maybe unusual for a business. But we're on everybody's nerves are on high today because we've got some pretty significant severe weather coming through, catastrophic storms and tornadoes, and followed up by biblical flooding. So that's life today. But we know who's in control. So we will either endure here longer or we will be with him sooner. One of the two. That's the way it goes around my mind. But I'm here with a friend, a colleague. Maybe a lot of adjectives I can use for you, all positive for the podcast, Jeff.
Thank you.
Just someone that I've gotten to know for a long time, a very early guest of the podcast. Mm-hmm. You would have traveled to Metropolis 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And done a podcast about ShedHub 4 years ago. So who knew just what all the things would experience, it's kind of, fiction is stranger than the truth, they say, or whatever. And I feel like that's kind of been the case for some of mine in your journey, getting to know each other and work with each other throughout the industry. But, you are the founder and the idea man behind ShedHub. Which has been, I've been 4 years now. We're on year 5 going into the podcast. You guys are, I don't even know when did ShedHub begin?
ShedHub started, ShedHub.com started right around time COVID was hitting the United States. So winter of 2020, spring of 2020 is sort of when we went live. But we weren't really advertising ourselves a whole lot at that point. We were just brand new. We didn't have a huge following on the website, but that's when we launched. And so as a website that's designed to promote sheds, everybody was selling sheds just fine without ShedHub. During
what a time.
The COVID era, people really didn't need to advertise or anything like that. So we sort of laid low. Didn't do a whole lot in that first year or so.
Yeah. I definitely remember you telling us about it and then coming down and doing the interview with me and Kyle. And it was an interesting thought. We went out to eat, and I just remember it being a very interesting thing. We were working more in rent-to-own at that time, so we had kind of like moved away from shed sales. Like, imagine that. We decide to quit selling sheds the year that COVID happens, when sheds flew off the shelf with not much effort whatsoever. And then, of course, you must be an equal glutton for punishment, because you start a shed sales pipeline, basically a lead generation tool, right in the middle of a time where people are saying, I don't need help selling sheds. I need help building sheds. Mm-hmm. Do you have a ShedHub builder?
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it was, it was definitely, I feel like it's one of those things that the industry didn't get the opportunity to embrace, much like today, where you hear the opposite story of we're buckling down, we're increasing marketing, we're increasing other efforts to be able to get sheds in front of people. And I think about the specific nature of the fact that it's tech, it's getting sheds in front of people who are shopping on a tech perspective. And it's also using tech from an industry facing perspective. So it's just kind of interesting, the two-sided marketplace. So what probably the shed industry doesn't realize is some of the success that you have had in one side of the marketplace, which has been getting in front of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for instance, this is the beginning of April, and both February and March of 2025, we got over 1.6 million impressions on Google search. That's the number of times that Google delivers us as an option to click on. We get a new visitor roughly every 80, 90 seconds or so to ShedHub. So there's a lot of serious shed shoppers going to the ShedHub platform looking for their next building, for sure.
So me and you like to joke, laugh, and talk about these different things because we kind of so involved in the shed industry that like it's a different language. But when you try to reach somebody to say like, how does that help me? What does that mean? 1.6 million. I think probably for comparison, Shed Geek gets, like 20,000 impressions.
Mm-hmm.
You get 1.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to reach the public.
Right.
I'm trying to reach the industry.
Right.
Like we talk to the industry about industry things. You try to do both. You try to explain to the industry, this is a tool you can use. But a bigger part that overshadows that is that you get in front of the public, which is anybody who's done marketing, if they've done any kind of ads or SEO, realizes probably from the professionals that are telling them what that takes or what kind of budget that takes. That's accomplished. That's getting even better, but it's there. So that 1.6 million is like, what does that mean? Does that help me sell a shed?
It does in certain ways. It's creating brand recognition out in the general public for ShedHub. So people are more and more likely to use ShedHub as a resource. Think about when you're like out looking for a new home and you type in homes near whatever city you're about to move into. You're probably going to get realtor.com or Zillow, one of those marketplaces that comes up, and it's aggregating all the real estate in that neighborhood, in that city, into one website. So there might be 20 real estate brokers serving one city, but Zillow or Realtor is going to have all those properties in one spot. So you're not necessarily going to 20 different websites to look for your next house. You're going to one, and it just makes it a nicer shopping experience for those who are looking for a home in this case. So that's sort of the similar idea with ShedHub, is people who are looking for their next accessory building can come to ShedHub, look at everything that's available out there, and learn about you, whereas they might not have never heard about you before.
Let's address some of the obstacles. Obstacle is the way, right? The obstacle is the way. So embrace the obstacles. I put my building on ShedHub. It's out there with a bunch of other buildings on ShedHub. Mm-hmm. I have a response. A couple of responses that come to mind for me are, if it's good enough to work in the real estate world, and it's good enough to work in the car world, I think that we would be amiss if we said, can't work in the shed world. Of course it can. It's worked in these industries, and it's worked well with Auto Trader. It's worked well with, Zillow. There comes a point where the auto industry, from what I've, been told in any of this research, I mean, we've interviewed some guys like John Grossman, wrote the Amazon Way. He was part of Jeff Bezos' team when they started Amazon even, you know what I mean? And he talks about these different things. And he said it's difficult in the beginning, but even the car guys that didn't want to be on it saw so much value that why shouldn't you be on it? Unless you're going to create your own system. And then if you do, you've got to generate that SEO that ShedHub's already done for you. And so that's one pushback that I would give, is if it's good enough for the home that sell every day and the cars that sell every day, it's good enough for the sheds every day.
Right.
Hello, shed sellers. Let's take a moment to discuss the shed customer and meeting their expectations. I remember growing up in the neighborhood where a certain percentage of the houses had well-manicured lawns and well-manicured homes. These were the type of individuals who felt it was important to purchase a well-constructed home or vehicle, or maybe equipment to help maintain the quality of the item. As shed manufacturers, we seek to provide a well-built quality shed. We want the customer to feel satisfied that their hard-earned money has been well spent on a product that will last. At LuxGuard, we believe adding high-quality rubber flooring to your line of sheds makes sense to the customer and adds value the customer can appreciate. With each year, sheds are becoming more complex. The customizations we are seeing are virtually endless. LuxGuard not only gives a complimentary aesthetic appearance for their shed, but also protects the floor from spills and keeps cleanup simple. Offer your customer the customer service they seek with LuxGuard. At LuxGuard, we are committed to delivering exceptional customer service and innovative products to help our customers achieve their goals. We strive to meet the evolving needs of the customers. To speak with one of our ready-to-serve customer product specialists, simply call 336-468-4311. To see our product and view an installation video, just visit our website at luxguard.com. LuxGuard, the floor that lasts a lifetime. And two, you can't, in my opinion, like eliminate enough competition to be successful. I'll use government as an example. You can't save enough money to be wealthy, right? You only make a certain amount of much money. So saving is always responsible, and you should do that, and I encourage that. But you can't save yourself into prosperity. You still have to earn yourself into prosperity, which is why I'm probably a big, I'm not, I don't want to go down that road, but, so like to me, I guess what I'm saying is like the point I'm trying to draw, the conclusion I'm trying to draw there is like, you have competition today that you have to beat, who puts a shed lot out, who advertises on Facebook, Google, they have SEO, they have marketplace out. You have all those things you already have to overcome.
Right.
Would you treat Facebook the same way and say, these guys can't put sheds on marketplace? I'm putting sheds on marketplace. Your product and your process is what helps you win business, not the fact that you can put it on here and no one else can.
Right.
That's my take, and that's maybe too strong of an opinion, but I don't think that eliminating people off of a platform is the answer, and you having the only platform. I think it actually generates more eyeballs onto your products too.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you're going to get eyeballs from people who are not necessarily right in your area. Like if you have a Google listing, a good Google listing, you're probably going to get decent clicks from local search within that 30-mile radius around where you are. I think where ShedHub shines is sort of going out beyond that 30 miles, going to the 80-mile radius, say, and you're going to get people finding your products that maybe live a little bit further away from you, coming in and looking at your products and buying them.
So I'm trying to think of more accolades, because we've done a couple interviews with you. People are like, we know what ShedHub is, maybe. I don't know. Some people do. Maybe some people are still finding it. Maybe there's an awareness that I'm not just focusing on, that people are still. I talked to someone today that was like, I think I have heard of that. What is that? And I was talking about our partnership, which we'll get into a little bit deeper as you guys continue to listen to the podcast. But, what other accolades would you focus on that has made ShedHub really good? I know I make you nervous whenever I say this, but one thing that when you started advertising that I thought was very neat in comparison to any other lead generation tool that was out there is that you guys show up at ShedHub on like 90% of first page search results. If there's a shed listed on ShedHub within like 50 miles, roughly, something along those lines. Like I have people call me all the time and they say, I can't figure out the SEO. What on earth has he done? And I'm like, well, if he told you that, then he'd have no company. He's not selling that. He's selling you the product, not the cure. And the product is, hey, we can get your sheds in front of people.
Right.
I want to talk about the negative things and the things to overcome here in a bit, but I still want to spend a little bit of time flossing it up, making it look good, showing everybody why you should be on ShedHub. Let's talk about the good. We can talk about the bad later.
Okay.
What are other things that come to mind for you that you're just proud of, things that have worked good, things that you're excited about?
Well, the SEO, as you mentioned, we work every day on SEO and making sure that your products show up on ShedHub when people are searching. If you're near the town that someone's searching in, they type in sheds near whatever the town name is. We want you to get benefit out of ShedHub, and that means showing up on page 1 on Google search and getting your products out there. And I think we've done a good job of that. And that's a never-ending job to make sure that your products can show up on page 1 of search. That's something we never quit thinking about. We're always thinking about how can we improve this and make it better for the people who are paying money to be on our platform.
I think it's important to point out too that this is not, we say it's a new technology, and that's fair, but the .com boom started in the 90s under the Clinton administration. But here we are 35 years later, essentially. The .com boom's here to stay, right? Like, barring the idea that all humanity ceased to exist, it seems as though we're moving into a retail world that is embracing, and I'm not saying the industry's embracing, just to be clear. I'm saying the world, the population of the world and the way they choose to shop seems to be gearing up in more of a digital storefront. Not saying that eliminates a
correct
brick and mortar storefront by any means whatsoever. Not even suggesting that you can't do well with just a brick and mortar storefront. You can do very well. I think growth and scalability is maybe a bit more difficult without sort of embracing some of the new technologies that allow you to get in front of people. Social media is a perfect example. We talked about the early bird not getting the worm. MySpace didn't get it. Facebook got it. TikTok seems to be, really infiltrating that space currently. X just sold, to its own parent company,
right?
But still an AI generated company that's going to incorporate that into social media. I think people get frustrated when they don't understand these things, right? Because it should be simple, and I think a lot of times it's just recognizing your place in history, that it will be probably a little bit easier explained in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. But the people who are on the forefront of building the rocket ship are already doing it. We'll learn about it later, right?
Right.
So my mindset is ShedHub's not a new technology. It's a website. Yeah. I know there's more than that, but I'm trying to convince people this is not necessarily a new technology. It is a website that is optimized to get in front of a bunch of people,
right?
And get your sheds in front of a bunch of people. That's really the mystery.
It's really no different than Zillow or AutoTrader or any of these other marketplaces. They're optimized to serve one particular niche product category out there, and they do a really good job of it. Yeah.
So anything else before I start grilling you, or we start doing the hard questions, or
I'm ready for whatever.
Okay. All right.
Are you swimming in leads but struggling to close the deal? It's time to turn those leads into profits with Making Sales Simple, the ultimate sales training program designed specifically for shed sales professionals. At Making Sales Simple, we understand the challenges you face, overwhelmed by inquiries, unsure how to follow up, and missing opportunities that can boost your bottom line. Our proven techniques help you and your team master the art of connecting with customers, building trust, and closing deals like never before. Whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned pro, this training will sharpen your skills, increase your conversions, and drive your business to new heights. Don't let those leads go cold. Invest in your team's success today. Making sales simple, because every lead deserves a closer.
So I'm trying to think of questions that people would ask, and maybe I should have just put something out before this episode, but we didn't know we were going to do this necessarily until last week. So, I guess what I'm thinking is, what are the concerns that you have to overcome from a sales perspective on ShedHub that you have heard? And maybe I can bring up some that I've heard, and then just address them head on, because I think the humility in that is appreciated.
Sure.
What are things that you feel like have stagnated at any of its success at a higher level?
I think, there's Facebook Marketplace out there, and you can list buildings for no cost. And that's great. It's a tool that people should use. And so people might say, oh, well, I'm already listing on Marketplace for no cost. Why should I use ShedHub? That costs a little bit. And I guess think about all the different advertising that you pay for. You might get print ads, you might do Facebook paid ads, you might do Google paid ads. There's still advertising dollars being spent. And Facebook Marketplace is great. You should use it. But, this is a paid advertising channel, if you want to call it that. And we try to be very reasonable in cost. It's, roughly $40 per location per month. So
one sale annually at a cost of $6,000 per average on, sheds. Even as a dealer who's a 10%, commission structure, $600. So you sold one shed off of it, you've broke even for the year, two sheds and you've made money.
Right. Exactly. And just think about how much you spend on Google or Meta ads during the course of a year or a month. It could easily exceed that. So, I don't encourage people to not use other channels. I just think this is another avenue to get leads. You're getting people who are serious about buying a shed. These people visiting ShedHub are serious about buying a shed. And so there's some value in that. And so, and it takes money to run a company.
Yeah, sure. Can't do it for free. Well, I would even add, people on Marketplace, it's tax time. So a lot of times tax dollars are out there, and it's like they're just scrolling through Facebook Marketplace and they see a shed and they're like, we really need one. But there's a new motorcycle or there's a four-wheeler or whatever.
The distractions.
You don't have that. Correct. Because they're staying on a shed-specific site. So if they are impulsive or looking to spend, a tax return or save money or whatever it is, they're more inclined and more likely to stay in the area of which you want them to be, which is on your website, on the sheds. And then there's tons of data that you gather as well from, just them being on the website, where they go, what they're looking for, what they do, what they're interested in. All any major marketing outlets are going to be able to utilize and clone and understand that data and use that data for the purpose of, making for a better shopping experience for the customer overall. But, I've never imagined telling someone don't use something that will work for them to sell sheds. Right. It's a wild kind of thought in the shed industry. I think that there's some territorial things that exist in the shed industry based off of the way that it has just been established as a industry over the years. And I think part of that comes with a mentality that's like, you have to fail for me to succeed. We couldn't possibly both succeed together. I don't know why that exists. It's probably more of a just like business acumen mentality in general. But yeah, it's just it's one of those things where use it.
Right.
But Facebook has made it clear that for businesses, they want you to spend money. You can use Marketplace for free, but the algorithm is manipulated, right? Even on your personal page, it's manipulated. And they admit that. That's not something that they like hide from. They're like, yes, if you create a business page,
Right.
we are going to suppress the algorithm because we want you using the Facebook Ads Manager. We want you spending money and then working those leads inside of that. If you want to test that out, any of you who have created a personal page and watched your growth and friend suggestions or things like that versus creating a business page, it kind of falls flat. You just don't see as much interaction without spending dollars. Now, if you were to go create a private Facebook group, the algorithm's pretty open, right? You know, that you can, you know, they make suggestions to people all the time. That's how many of you find shed sales professionals or shed haulers page or whatever it is that's out there. So to me, the Facebook has already made it clear, like, we're a business, and if you're a business, we want you to spend money to be profitable on here. You can be successful on Marketplace, but it is limited in terms of like your total potential.
Sure. Also, one perhaps advantage of ShedHub is your listings automatically renew. And your Marketplace listings, you have to go in and click buttons to get them to pop up again. I forget the time period, but every so many days you have to go in and renew your listings there. So there's some time savings there too.
Yeah. No, I get it. Other things that you've just kind of heard, reasons for why ShedHub may not be for me, or people who have even already tried it and said, oh, maybe that wasn't for me.
I think if you know, buying into the platform takes time too. You have to upload your inventory and take the time to do it. You're not going to get leads if you don't have inventory in there. And the people who are currently using it, I would encourage them to add new products every couple of days, because our algorithm within ShedHub is going to favor new content and new things. So if someone's out there shopping over the course of a week and they come back to ShedHub several times during the week, they're going to see what was newly posted. They're going to see something different. And so, but you just got to use the platform. It's one thing to just spend a little bit of money, but you actually have to put in the time. We also have integrations, however. So if you're using, say, Shed Suite, or you're using RTO Nationals DMS, we've also created custom integrations with other proprietary inventory systems. We can bring that data from those systems into ShedHub so that your dealers don't have to re-upload everything into ShedHub, which is a huge time saving. So twice a day we'll ping your inventory system and look for new inventory and bring it into ShedHub automatically. And that's a huge time savings.
You do see, you know, tech's always improving. Apple's making improvements. I have to update my phone regularly, even with a new phone. I'm sure it's the same for ShedHub. I know it is, in fact. And occasionally something will break. Happens with Apple. Happens all the way down the line. I guess my question to you is, what encourages you when something breaks?
If something breaks and you get 5 different phone calls, says ShedHub is down or ShedHub's not working or this is, that's, to me, I want to fix it right away, first of all, but it also tells me people use it and need it for sales. So you never want technology to go down, but when it does and you start getting a flood of calls, you know, oh, okay, this is important to people to have it up and running. So that's encouraging to me when I hear people saying, yeah, I couldn't access it 10 minutes ago. I said, okay, yeah, we're on it. It'll be up in 5 minutes or something like that. I don't mind getting those calls. It means people are paying attention.
Yeah, no, really good. Digital Shed Builder is an online shed configurator that strives to provide incredible visual quality, fantastic customer service, and an amazingly low price point, making it a perfect fit for any shed dealer looking to increase their online sales. Digital Shed Builder is simple to use, taking less than 5 minutes to integrate on your site. The Get a Quote feature streamlines your sales process, showing you exactly what your potential customers need. They offer a highly customizable experience that accurately represents your brand and unique shed offerings, working with you directly to set up everything you need in a configurator. With no extra startup cost, no lengthy contracts or commitments, and no hidden fees, Digital Shed Builder has been created with quality, simplicity, and affordability in mind. Time's flying by, so I want to segue. We've talked all about the good, the bad, and we welcome, to be clear, any calls, any emails, any concerns. Even if it's something you've used or you've used another program before and you say, well, it didn't work. I gave it my shot. It didn't happen. I moved on. These are programs that if ShedHub's not it in 5 years, someone else is going to create a different program that's going to be very similar to e-commerce that's going to offer these same solutions. Sure. Anyway, so like these are things that are not going away in the digital storefront.
No.
That's not to say, might as well use it or else. I'm not trying to paint that picture. What I am saying is like those who embrace different things that's what's going to set them apart in the business world. And I do think that if ShedHub fell flat on its face today and wrote up shop and left town, someone else is going to create something.
Sure.
So it's like, you want to keep going till you get it right in every situation and you learn, right? You learn. But what I want to talk about now for the second half of the podcast with the time that we've got left is I don't even know what word to use, but a joint effort on behalf of ShedHub and Shed Geek to make for a better user experience, both in the shed industry, which we have done a pretty fair job of reaching, and then also in the public facing space, which you guys have done a really good job of connecting with. I'm going to let you take it. I'm going to let you have the microphone and tell, like the industry, your thoughts on sort of, and then I'll come in and correct you.
All right. Well, we're really excited to announce that Shed Geek is a partner within ShedHub, and Shed Geek will be tasked with making our industry-facing presence more powerful, empowering what we do for the next foreseeable future. And then ShedHub will keep servicing the general shopping consumer, keep doing what we're doing there. Shannon, you're going to come on as project manager.
Yes.
And you'll be working with the industry side of things a lot more and helping us out a lot. So we're really, really excited for this new joint effort, this partnership to move forward. And it'll take the shed industry to the next level, I think.
And this will include ownership to a degree that is being kept private for our purposes. There's just no reason to let everybody know the details of what it is that we're working on, but you can feel comfortable knowing that we're embracing ShedHub. We've advertised for them for quite some time and found some success in that, using Shed Geek specific codes and things of that nature. But we just wanted to take that to a new level where, me buying in as ownership would sort of synergize that.
Mm-hmm.
Did I just use that word?
You can use that word.
Okay. Synergize the effort that we're trying to create for the industry. Hoping that, you guys see that I embrace this effort, regardless of how long it takes to make it successful, because we are now, doing finance and rent own and marketing. We're pretty heavily involved. I mean, there's not a whole lot of areas left in the industry, right? In a tech world outside of e-commerce, we partner with many 3D configurators, POS, CRPs, and guys like that, and we support them all, and we think they should all do good. We are having a change of title sponsor. That'll be coming up in May, so keep an eye out for that, because that is a tech space that is choosing to take that on. And look, we encourage them, just as we've been a faithful steward to Union Grove Lumber for 3 years for their dedication and effort to what they've been doing to help sponsor the podcast. We want to make sure to offer the same, to the new partner who's deciding to take that space. And the tech world's tricky because not everybody does the same thing. Some of our partners overlap even from time to time. I mean, you do the occasional one-off websites and different things. So how can we partner with you when we offer this marketing services, right? As a to the industry. But we can, because I think that certain people are willing to partner who realize that, it's better to work collaboratively for the benefit of not only your business, but also the shed businesses you serve.
Right.
As opposed to creating a hard line and saying we're unwilling to work with this person or that person because of that situation. And I've had people tell me before, it's a tightrope. You walk a tightrope, Shannon, and I do walk a tightrope. I'll admit that. I want to see everyone win. I'm also realistic enough to know not everyone will win. We would like to win business all the time. We're also realistic enough to know that we won't always win business. But we don't take that as a failure for us if we don't win business. We've been very successful in this marketing agency role in the last 18 months, creating over 50, accounts. And gosh, it just makes sense to do this with ShedHub because you are a lead generation tool. And guess what? Marketing is trying to create lead generation. And it's like, why should we not be managing partners, if you will, to kind of oversee this, especially as it relates to the industry itself? You get me out there in the world of retail that you guys do on ShedHub on the two-sided marketplace, and you tell somebody, we partnered with Shed Geek, they're going to say, who's that? Don't care. Right? They don't listen to my podcast every day. We don't try to get those podcast listeners. We go for quality over quantity. We don't need 50 million people. Who's going to listen in on a podcast to find out about shed industry and the inner workings of it? But we do try to make it entertaining and talk about life and people's business and not just try to sell somebody something all the time. Albeit we're trying to sell you something today, aren't we? We're trying to sell you ShedHub. So, I believe in it because I understand the tech well enough to see how profound 1.6 million impressions is. And for anyone who does understand it, they would get that too. But as a project manager, there's just a few things that we wanted to start to do to sort of build and instill the confidence in the industry. If there's any that's been lost, we want to regain it. If there's any that hasn't been found, we want to make awareness of it. And the one thing that I noticed almost immediately in connecting with you is that your SEO is working amazing. The problem is sometimes people don't know when they're getting leads from ShedHub.
Sure.
Would you agree?
I would agree. I mean, we post your website address, we post your phone number, we post links to your 3D configurator. So unless you have a really, really good way to track that on your own, those clicks and things like that, it might be hard to know that ShedHub was one of the many touch points that people use to find your products. And, if you have a ring to number that you can put into ShedHub to track calls coming in, that might benefit you. But if it's the same number that you're posting everywhere, you might not know where they found your phone number originally. And so we have lead generation forms on the website. We'll know exactly who found you, how, through ShedHub. But a lot of times I get calls all the time and saying, yeah, Jeff, I just sold a shed off of ShedHub and I didn't see the lead come in. There's no record in our database. So to me, that says, okay, someone found your number and called you, and that's good. That's what we want to. There's not always a direct connect back to ShedHub unless you get those anecdotal statements from different sellers. So we know it's working, and people are getting visibility on their products.
90% of the population is using a smartphone now.
Mm-hmm.
You see the phone number and you click on it.
Mm-hmm.
The salesperson's not going to take the time to be like, even if they do, they're not going to grill them.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is the customer may be unaware. They're just shopping.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know what website they've landed on. They've clicked a page because Google suggested it. Google is suggesting, AI is even suggesting
Correct.
ShedHub now
Yeah.
as a primary outlet of places to find sheds.
Correct.
The whole purpose of Google is to be an information source. That's why it says, 1.789637 billion, options in 3.2 seconds, or whatever it is. Like, based off what you searched, I need water. Well, they're going to find the best suggested water source near you times whatever. And you're going to go through all these different pages. Well, we all know everybody stops after the first page. I mean,
Right.
Sometimes you go to second or third, maybe if you just really are, desperate for water or whatever it is that you're looking for. But with sheds, they don't spend a whole lot of time, and the salespeople don't spend a whole lot of time saying, "Where'd you find this lead? Where'd it come from? We need to measure our ROI." No, it's a barrier to entry for the customer to get a shed. They're just like, "Hey, how can I help you?" So they're not really worried about how it came in.
Hello, today we're going to take a look at iFab's component saw system. So we're utilizing a DeWalt chop saw. We've put it on sliders, easily to adjust. We've automated it using pneumatics so that we can run all these saws together using one actuator. We can either actuate with a two-hand safety control here or a foot pedal. The two-hand safety control comes with board clamps here, so to clamp in your board so you're totally hands-free. We've got digital readout up here to find your angle as well as your length. So we have a 90-degree saw here for your super long angle cuts. We've also got a conveyor on this system to take away your cutoffs. This system is completely modular. We can add as many saws as you need. The rails can be as long as you need.
For more information, visit www.ifabllc.com.
What we're going to attempt to do with our connection, and our tools at Shed Geek Marketing as part of this process is tie in some of those analytics to be able to show people the value of ShedHub and just exactly not only how useful it is already, but how much more useful it can become. And here's the beauty of it. Maya Angelou, yes, said that right. She says creativity is a funny thing. The more of it you use, the more of it you have. Well, ShedHub's kind of similar. So the more you guys post, the more things get seen. So it's actually beneficial as you guys embrace it and you say, well, I was on it, but I didn't get a lead. It's like, well, actually, the more you use it, the more leads you'll get. And the more other people use it, the more leads it'll get. So I guess what I'm saying is it only has growth potential to go up because you're already seeing natural growth from an impression side with or without those listings. So with those listings, it will only increase the SEO value to the point to where, I already know that ShedHub's SEO is outperforming many, many websites. Most, let's be honest, most websites, because we get those calls, and we're in marketing enough to know that we sell SEO packages to people, and they're like, how do you get us there? And we're like, yeah, well, Jeff and ShedHub sure have the secret figured out because they're everywhere, right? And it's like, yeah, well, that's what we want to do with you, which in turn limits the amount of spending you have to do on Google ads and Facebook ads. So whenever you say things like, I don't want to spend more money, it's like, cool, increase your SEO value. And you won't have to, because you'll start getting organic traffic based off of search results. ShedHub's already doing that with or without sheds. The thing is, we need subscriptions. And there's a couple other things that we're going to create. I don't know that we want to talk about them too much today, but I'll mention them in this way. There will be it's okay. There will be a model that will exist outside of the subscription model that we aim to create. And from a industry perspective, why on earth would I not pull on your SEO value while I'm already selling advertising? So for those of you who are advertising with us, hey, let's talk. Maybe we can get you onto ShedHub and create this other entire stream of you to get in front of people. And obviously, it's probably best for products and services that are aftermarket, to be honest with you, but it doesn't mean that you can't help by getting in front of people. We get in front of people now. ShedHub's just going to get in front of more people. And the hard part's going to be the branding. ShedHub's already branded, and it's branded to not just the industry, whether that brand name is excellent or whether it's just okay. But from an SEO perspective, it's excellent whenever it comes to the public facing. So we're going to have to be creative on this co-branding effort as far as ShedHub and Shed Geek collaboration. What are your thoughts? I'm babbling.
Oh, you're fine. I'm excited for it. I think this will be a new chapter for us, a new chapter for the shed industry. So many people come to the internet first to start their shopping journey, and they're going to learn about you online and then come out and visit the lot and make a purchasing decision. And so it's just important that the shed industry embrace the internet and go where people are looking for sheds, which is online. I think a majority of people start their auto shopping journey online. And so it's just a trend that's going to keep growing and growing as this younger generation grows up and becomes shed buyers and accessory building buyers. Everything's headed towards digital age.
No, I agree. We're just in that weird place in history where we're the middle children of what seems like both of these things in many ways. Like, they both still work. Are there models that work brick and mortar only? Absolutely. Are there models that work digital only? Absolutely. Who's doing it best? Probably those who are able to do both and then scale it. If you can figure out how to scale that. And there are some that are. And I think a lot of that comes back to branding and conversations we've had on branding. I don't care to share my thoughts even deeper on that. For anybody who wants to know, we've got thoughts and opinions on it. And for those who call in and seek to work with us, something I want to do, deemed project manager, hate the title CEO or whatever you want to call it, but as project manager, one of the things that interests me first is making it easy. Make it simple to sign up for someone who says, okay, I'll give it a whirl. Hey, we're month to month. We're month to month, but for $39 a month, for $480 or less, give it 12 months, give it a shot. You sell one shed, you broke even. Obviously you don't want to just break even, but you sell two, you've actually made money. So it's actually really low risk in comparison to the many alternatives.
Sure.
To getting your sheds in front of people online. So I want to make it simple. So for those who are like, I tried to sign up in the past or there was complicated, just know, call me directly. We'll do whatever. We'll get the people on the phone to get you signed up, get you onboarded, get it figured out or whatever. But just know that we're working on a process to just make it simple make it easy, clutter free. You understand the website well. We're kind of going back through that a little bit to make it just more user friendly. Mm-hmm. We want the program to be user friendly as a whole. It already works, is the beauty of it. It's just a matter of tying in some of these different things like the analytics to show, hey, this person actually clicked on your phone number and that was a lead you got from here. If you ended up selling that shed, it's not that we need credit. We need the subscription. You pay for the subscription. We consider us even. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to get more of the sale, right?
Yeah, there's no commission.
There's no commission on it. So it's like, man, this is really, really, really simple. The beauty is if you're an independent 1099 contractor, you can sign up and list your inventory on this today.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine. I have seen this where, there's more company influence that says, don't use this program, do use that program. And it's just kind of an interesting thought to me. Sometimes it's hard for me to digest and get through all of it. But dude, I've said from the beginning, I love your program. I've always enjoyed it. We've stayed friends through a lot of different things that the industry will probably never know about. And I've always enjoyed your tech brain.
Thank you.
To be able to come on and my tech brain may be lacking where your sales initiative may be lacking, and we've somehow figured out how to orient those together.
Correct.
And it's worked out really, really, really well.
Running a business can feel like trying to balance a dozen plates, except none of them are actually plates, and one of them's on fire. Enter Newfound Solutions. Think of us like your business BFF, always ready to lend a hand with whatever you need. Have you always wanted to start your own rent-to-own company but don't quite know where to start? RTO Partners is here to help. Overwhelmed by all the moving pieces in running your own rent-to-own program? RTO Smart is a software that encompasses everything you need on one platform. Or leave the rent-to-own up to us and focus on what's more important to you. Newfound Rentals has you covered with traditional rent-to-own options for your customers. Shed Connect understands the complexity of the digital marketplace. We take the hassle out of online sales and unlock the full potential of your brand with co-creative. We'll make your brand look so good, your audience won't be able to look away. Newfound Solutions, 5 powerful sub-brands helping you succeed across every aspect of your business. Visit newfoundsolutions.com today and let us do the balancing so you don't have to.
Yeah, thoughts or questions for me, or thoughts or questions, just anything for the industry that you would want to put out there. This is a first adventure. This podcast is April 2nd. I don't know. It might not even come out till May. We've got some other partners in this that we may bring in on a podcast eventually.
Correct.
That we want to, talk about, help build the stability of just the user friendliness of it and the overall effectiveness of ShedHub via Shed Geek, however you want to say that. Mm-hmm. We still got some language there to figure out. But I am an owner now.
Yes, congratulations.
So yeah, we're gonna make it work. We got to make it work, right?
Yes.
But just thoughts that you have just for people, or questions for me or anything.
I guess a question for you would be, where do you think the digital is going for the shed industry over the next 2-3 years?
Good question. Obviously, it's, as you said, younger generations are going to continue to embrace things more and further. Obviously, social media is a big thing. A lot of people don't realize, like, Instagram and other areas is almost used as a search engine. Mm-hmm. TikTok is almost used as a search engine. So whenever you start thinking about, YouTube as the second largest search engine, essentially. So what's on the surface may not be, there's just so many changes, Intuit buying things, Oracle buying things, Google essentially getting out of the URL game, selling that to Squarespace, which is a POS, kind of an interesting thought. When you just watch all of these things happen, there's obviously things that are happening at this higher level with people who have way more money than me, who are making way bigger decisions for our future in tech. So the only thing we can do is operate within what we have control of. We can't really operate outside of that. But seeing social media being used more like a search engine, if somebody wants to find where to go find an ice cream shop and they're teenagers and they find it through TikTok, they don't necessarily Google ice cream shop near me. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you say digital, I would say, you know, younger generations are choosing to rent more than buy. You know, that's an interesting trend, because guess what? We rent buildings. That works out perfect, right? You know, so if you don't want ownership, and the beauty is you can have ownership at some point. Maybe there's a rent-to-rent market happening at some point instead of a rent-to-own market. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to be responsible for the repair. Maybe, you know, I don't know, or the upkeep or something like that. Who knows what business opportunities it's going to spawn for people who are creative, dedicated, and just want to make it happen kind of personality. I do believe the digital world's just going to get bigger. Probably my biggest thing is, like, how are you branding to some of these big companies? You know, I don't like to give all of our information away or whatever, but, you know, I just can't imagine they would continue to open up shed lots and then try to rebrand 2 to 3 different brands. That's pretty wild, because that's really limiting their SEO value, their ad budget. And we've kind of signed on a role as a bit of a consultation partner in some ways. We actually do some consultation for a few different companies, more so not because we had an organized consultative company, but more so because they just begin to ask. And it was like, hey, you're getting into the point to where we got to charge you for information. So we got to create something here. Like, we're friendly, but we need to make a living too. Right. So, I just think, you know, it's interesting to watch the digital storefront play out at a bigger level. Graphic design is getting way more robust. It's really impressive at, like, what these websites are starting to see. You'll see a new Shed Geek marketing site here coming out soon. So we're going to start to separate the sites, because the business opportunities are getting big enough now to where we need to be able to work cohesively, but also autonomously. And the graphics are going to be just dynamic on the website. It's going to be awesome. So look forward to that. And that's what we're trying to create for you guys too, whenever you call in. It's here to stay. I mean, it's here to stay. You said it yourself. People start their car buying journey there. And that might not look like the same for everybody. That might not look like, it might be, where is this BMW? Is there one of these located closest to me? Or it also might be, what's the average cost of that? That's still starting. And sometimes that's what people come to ShedHub for, is to find out, well, what is the average price of a shed? Is this guy totally gigging me over here on this, 10 by 12? Yeah. Or is it in line with most 10 by 12s?
Right.
And then people might get on there and they might be like, man, this one's $3,000 more, but my goodness, look at the stuff on it.
There's no Kelly Blue Book on a shed.
There's no Kelly Blue Book. Yeah. We need to create a Shed Geek Blue Book. They just, when lumber prices spiked during COVID, one of my favorite people in the industry told me, he said, our salespeople were so worried about this increase, because that increase ultimately gets passed on to the consumer. Let's be honest, and he said, the thing is, though, that lumber for them to build sheds costs the same for me. So if our shed's $5,000, it's not going to be $2,000 down the road. It's going to be $4,995 or $5,100 or something. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be close.
Right.
It's really just, at that point, it's about execution. How soon can we get it? What's our processes like? How simple can we make it? Are we good salespeople? Can we close? All these different things. Do we have what they want? Can we build what they want? Can we use a 3D builder to show them what they want? It's all these things start to come into play. But he's like, the reality is, though, my shed's going to cost about the same as their shed down the road. So we don't have to overcome the prices as a company. We have to overcome it as an industry. And we're probably going to start seeing some of that with tariffs and different things. And you think about how it affects steel and, carports. And, I keep thinking to myself, like, how big does this thing get? right? Because like I know guys that are doing like, well, we do 90% metal sheds. And I'm like, why don't you have a roll former? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to start going to the roll forming shows? Do I need to get involved in that very deep so that I'm educated enough on it to be able to explain and then suggest a roll former maybe or a cost or something? It just, for me, there's no shortage whenever people say the shed industry's small. I'm like, well, it's as small as you want it to be based off of your ambition, and it's as big as you want it to be based off your ambition. Yeah. So good question, and I like to ramble, so more questions, more thoughts. We're 55 minutes in. I got a few minutes if you're just something you really want to share. Or
No, I'm good.
we can go home and get in a bunker so that we don't get blown away.
Right.
Yeah. No, what's your thoughts? I mean, where do you see the industry going the most? What are the things that stick out to you the most?
I think people just need to pay more and more attention to leads coming in from all sources, not just ShedHub, but being responsive to leads that come in, using a CRM. If you've got a team, making sure that someone's on top of your salespeople, make sure they're using it. Because a lot of people shopping online are going to want quick response times. If you can respond within 5 minutes, that's super, super important. And so don't just think of yourselves. Nobody should really think of themselves as a brick and mortar only. I mean, there's always going to be this digital aspect to bring those customers into you. And it's just going to become more and more important. And you were mentioning search and how some of these social media channels are big on search. And you mentioned YouTube. I think Instagram is a big search engine now too, as well. So there's all these different areas where you just sort of need to have a presence, and your marketing team needs to start thinking about those sorts of things.
What's really amazing to me is like, and I know it's kind of like maybe because it's been proven, but I've seen some of the company numbers and like what they'll drop on a new shed lot, like that, blink of an eye. Won't even think about it. Yep, let's go spend that money.
Big dollars.
And it's like half of that in a digital presence would net you way more.
Sure.
And it's like, because it's not proven or they don't trust it or don't understand it or whatever the reason, it's kind of like, man, it's not the spending of the money that is the issue. It's the confidence of where to spend it, isn't it? And it's like, if you would just really drop that on a digital storefront, and then of course there's like, this wholesomeness to the industry that's like a dedication to their dealer network. And I admire that. And I love that. And I'm like, well, that's completely true. Isn't there also a dedication to the vendor who's bringing you free sheds to sell with essentially no accountability if you don't? And if you don't sell for them, do they not have the right to figure out how to sell? And with the digital storefront being able to offer so much, like the truth is, I know some companies that have like endured a lot in keeping certain dealers, and it's like, wow, you probably don't see that in most other industries. It's much more cutthroat. And I'm glad that we're not that. At the same time, I couldn't do this and you couldn't do what you do, and none of the listeners could do what they do without making money. It's about, where is your heart on making that money? We have to make money. Everyone has to make money. And I think any reasonable business person understands that. I think that those who don't occasionally message me and they're like, nah, you shouldn't have got into this. Nah, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm sorry that it's worked out, but we had encouraged you to do things too. Like we don't want to limit you in any way, shape or form. And we'd ask that you don't limit us. Got to make money. The more that we're given, the more that we can give away. I hope I always maintain that mindset. So it's not just about living some high life or something. So we're thankful for the opportunity that God's given us. And look, this podcast is His. This endeavor is His. If it doesn't work out, then so be it. If it does work out, then He gets all the credit. So I'm excited that we're finally working together, and I can call myself an owner of ShedHub.
Yes.
So for those of you who want to talk to an owner, give me a holler and we'll try to get you through it, and know that we have your best interest in mind in every one of our meetings. We meet every week, more than every week. We have a big phone call every Monday, and then we meet several times throughout the week to steady this process. Hope that you guys will embrace it. If you've ever, in any way, shape, or form, thought about helping yourselves, it's $39 a month. If you thought about helping me, it's $39 a month. If you thought about helping your customer, it's $39 a month to get on ShedHub. So give us a holler. We'll try to continue to build and instill more confidence in this collaboration and this partnership. I'm super excited about it and really excited about being able to put it out on the air. Nothing else?
I'm good.
I'm going to say a prayer because of all the anxiety that exists today for the bad weather that is coming into our area, including terrible rains afterwards. Me and you have some really awesome meetings tomorrow we'd like to be able to attend and get to if the weather is cooperative. I just, I feel the anxiety. Something that we did recently, we actually purchased what's called a safe shed. For those of you who want to go look it up, it's located in Salem, Illinois. No disrespect to those people, but they know nothing about the shed industry because they build a concrete bunker basically as a storm shelter. And we purchased one. So we're probably going to go get in it here soon. I encourage people to take a look at it. They travel all across the United States. I'm not a paid spokesman. I don't make a dime off of this. I just thought it was a really cool thing. And if it's a way to provide safety and security for you, as it will be about 11 people here for us in the next couple hours, go take a look at it. Tell them Shed Geek sent you and they'll say, who's that? I have no idea who it is. I'll just pray over the industry and safety, if that's okay. Lord, thank you for this day, albeit a weary and dreary day, full of anxiety and worry about weather and tornadoes and just all the unrest and rain and flooding and things of that nature. I ask that you would just calm the storm. I'd ask that you would be with us through it, guide us, protect us, and see us through it. Help us to help our neighbors, help us to help others as you've helped us. Protect us all in tonight and the next few days of severe weather, those across the country that experience these same things. Ask that you would continue to bless our industry, keeping you in the mix of all that we do and not letting us forget that in the name of chasing a dollar or just seeking riches. It's your money, it's your business, it's your industry after all. And just hope that you'd continue to let us be vessels of doing good with it. So we thank you. We thank you for your son that you sent to die for our sins. And we give you all the honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.